April 17th, 1944. Year so 623 hours. Pointe de Hoc, Normandy coast, France. Hauptmann Klaus Bergmann tastes salt and copper. The wind off the Atlantic carries both. Salt from the spray, hammering the rocks 100 meters below. Copper from where he bit his cheek during the nightmare 3 hours ago. The same nightmare for 6 weeks now. Martha screaming. The children screaming. Gestapo boots on wooden floors. He has been standing at this cliff edge for 17 minutes. His adjutant, Lieutenant Ernst Holzer, stopped asking questions after minute 12. The concrete observation bunker behind them still smells like wet cement and piss. 3 enlisted men are mounting a Maschinengewehr 42 that will kill approximately 40 Allied soldiers before naval gunfire turns this position into rubble. Bergmann designed the firing angles himself. He knows exactly how many men will die here. He is very good at mathematics. Herr Hauptmann, Holzer says. His voice has the careful tone subordinates use when their commanding officer might be losing his mind. The inspection team arrives in 90 minutes. How many? Sir? How many French civilians did the Schutzstaffel execute while we built this bunker? Holzer's face goes blank. That is Schutzstaffel business, Herr Hauptmann. I do not have those numbers. 47. Bergmann does not turn around. He watches the ocean. 47 people shot for sabotage or insufficient work speed or looking at German soldiers incorrectly. I saw the graves. The Schutzstaffel made the work crews dig them first. Motivation. Herr Hauptmann, we should review the sector reports. 47 French civilians so we could mount one machine gun nest that will last maybe 4 hours when the invasion comes. The mathematics are elegant, Ernst. 47 deaths to inflict 40 deaths to delay the inevitable by 4 hours. I should publish a paper. Bergmann finally turns from the cliff. His face is gray. He has not slept properly in 3 weeks. Holzer sees something in his commander's eyes that makes him take an involuntary step backward. Sir, are you unwell? I am perfectly well. I can still calculate fields of fire and reinforced concrete thickness and how many tons of explosives it takes to kill a man. That is all that matters. My function continues. Alert me when the inspection party arrives. Bergmann walks into the bunker. The temperature drops 10 degrees. The walls are 3 feet thick. The gun ports offer 120 degrees of overlapping fire coverage with the neighboring position. Everything is perfect. Everything is a tomb waiting to be sealed. Klaus Bergmann is 45 years old. He has been building death traps professionally since 1939. Before the war, he designed bridges in Hamburg, structures that helped people cross rivers. Now he designs structures that help people die efficiently. The engineering principles are similar. Load-bearing calculations, stress analysis. The optimal angle for murder is 37 degrees when accounting for tidal approaches and beach obstacles. He wrote that in a report once. His superior officer complimented his thoroughness. He is not a Nazi. He never joined the party. His father fought at Verdun in 1916 and came home with half his face missing and lungs full of gas. His father spent 17 years dying slowly in a Hamburg apartment that smelled like carbolic acid and failure. His father told him once, the only thing worse than dying in a war is surviving one. Bergmann understood this by age 14. The inspection team arrives at 800 hours precisely because German officers are punctual, even when inspecting killing grounds. Oberst Friedrich von Schlieben commands the 709th Infantry Division. He brings 2 staff officers and an Obersturmführer from the Schutzstaffel whose uniform is too clean and whose eyes are too bright. Bergmann knows the type. Believers. They walk the defensive positions. Bergmann explains fields of fire and mine patterns and interlocking kill zones. His voice is flat and professional. He sounds like a man describing a bridge. The Schutzstaffel officer takes notes. Von Schlieben nods approvingly. One staff officer asks about ammunition storage capacity. Bergmann answers with exact tonnage figures. He has all the numbers. He always has all the numbers. Hauptmann Bergmann, von Schlieben says as they stand in the main bunker studying range-finding charts. You have done excellent work. This position will be extremely difficult for enemy forces to assault. Thank you, Herr Oberst. If the Allies land here, how long can this position hold? Bergmann does not hesitate. 4 hours. 6 if the defenders accept death instead of surrender. The 17-centimeter guns from Allied destroyers will reduce these walls to gravel. The mathematics are unambiguous. The room temperature drops. The Schutzstaffel officer stops writing. Von Schlieben's expression does not change, but Bergman sees his jaw tighten. That is pessimistic, Hauptmann. It is accurate, Herr Oberst. The Atlantic Wall delays invasion forces. It cannot stop them. We would need mobile armor reserves, air superiority, and replacement rates that match attrition. We have none of these things. These bunkers will fill with corpses, and then the enemy will walk over them. I can show you the equations if you require proof. The Schutzstaffel officer stands abruptly. His chair scrapes concrete. Hauptmann Bergman, your remarks border on defeatism. The Führer has ordered that the Atlantic Wall will drive the invaders into the sea. Are you questioning the Führer's strategic vision? Bergman looks at him, really looks at him. The officer is perhaps 26. His uniform has 4 medals. None of them are for combat. His boots have never been muddy. Bergman feels something cold and sharp crystallizing in his chest. It might be hate. It might be despair. The emotions have started blurring together. I am an engineer, not a prophet. I build what I am ordered to build. I also calculate the probability of structural failure under stress. These fortifications will fail. That is not defeatism. That is mathematics. If you prefer comfortable lies to uncomfortable data, I cannot help you. Physics does not care about ideology. Herr Oberst, the Schutzstaffel officer's voice rises. This officer's attitude is unacceptable. Von Schlieben raises one hand. Hauptmann Bergman speaks with professional directness. I prefer honest assessments to fantasies. His evaluation is noted. We are finished here. After they leave, Holzer waits exactly 30 seconds. Herr Hauptmann, that Schutzstaffel officer will file a report on your comments. You should be more careful. Bergman laughs. It sounds wrong, like a cough. I have been careful for 4 years, Ernst. I have been careful while building execution grounds and calling them defensive positions. I have been careful while watching this war become a machine that converts human beings into corpses with German efficiency. I am tired of being careful. Careful has not saved anyone. Sir, please, go away, Ernst. That is an order. Holzer leaves. Bergman stands alone in the bunker. The gun ports frame the ocean like a painting. It is beautiful. In 6 weeks, the ocean will be red for 300 meters from shore. He designed the position specifically to maximize casualties in the surf zone. His work will be very effective. He will save 0 lives and cause perhaps 200 deaths and delay the Allied advance by 4 hours. The numbers are precise. The numbers are always precise. That evening, Bergman sits at his desk attempting to write a letter to his wife Martha. She is in Dresden with their children, Hans, age 12, and Greta, age 8. He has not seen them in 7 months. The last visit was September 1943. Greta had learned a new piano piece. Hans had built a model Messerschmitt from wood and wire. Martha had held his hand across the kitchen table and said, "Come home soon." He had lied and said he would. The letter will not write itself. He stares at blank paper for 40 minutes. What he wants to write is this: I am helping to kill thousands of people. Some of them will be 20 years old. Some of them will have sisters like Greta who play piano. I do this because I am a coward who follows orders. I do this because refusing means execution, and that would leave you alone. I do this because I do not know how to stop. He cannot write that. The Gestapo reads all mail. Instead, he writes about the weather. He asks about Hans's mathematics scores. He says he misses them. He signs it with love. Every word is true, and every word is a lie. He seals the envelope and tastes copper again. He bit through his cheek. In the envelope is something else, a drawing. Greta sent it in her last letter 3 weeks ago. She drew the family standing in front of their house. 4 stick figures holding hands. Papa is very tall in the picture. Papa is smiling. Above the house, she wrote in careful child letters, "Papa comes home soon." Bergman holds the drawing. His hands are shaking. Greta used red crayon for Papa's uniform. She got the color exactly right. She is 8 years old, and she can draw her father's uniform accurately because he has been at war for 5 years. Her entire conscious memory is war. She does not know what peacetime looks like. She thinks this is normal. He puts the drawing in his desk drawer. He cannot look at it anymore. He pours schnapps. He drinks it too fast. He pours more. By 2300 hours, the bottle is half empty, and he still cannot sleep. The nightmare is waiting. Martha screaming. The children screaming. Gestapo boots on wooden floors, May 3, 1944. 1447 hours. Rommel's headquarters, Château de la Roche-Guyon. 50 officers crowd into a briefing room that smells like cigarette smoke and desperation. Maps cover the walls. Red markers show completed fortifications. Yellow markers show work in progress. There are many yellow markers. The yellow ones are the bunkers where men will die before they are finished. Bergman knows this. Everyone knows this. No one says it. General Feldmarschall Erwin Rommel enters and the room stands as one body. Rommel looks like he has aged 10 years in 6 months. His face is gray. His uniform hangs loose. He has been driving himself relentlessly, inspecting every kilometer of coast personally, demanding faster construction, more obstacles, better fields of fire. He believes the invasion can be stopped at the waterline if the defenses are strong enough. He believes this because the alternative is unbearable. Rommel begins without preamble. Gentlemen, our intelligence indicates invasion within 6 weeks. The Allies are concentrating forces in southern England. Primary target is likely Pas-de-Calais, where the channel is narrowest. However, we must prepare for landings elsewhere, including Normandy. He gestures to the map. His hand trembles slightly. Bergman sees it. Others see it. No one acknowledges it. Our strategy is simple. Destroy the enemy on the beaches before they establish a foothold. Every bunker, every mine, every obstacle must maximize casualties during the landing phase. If we break their assault in the first hours, they will not attempt another invasion for months. That gives us time to deploy new weapons and potentially negotiate a favorable peace in the west while we handle the Soviet threat in the east. A staff officer asks about armored reserves. Rommel's face tightens. The Panzer divisions are under Oberkommando der Wehrmacht control, not mine. I requested authority to position them near the coast for immediate counterattack. Berlin denied my request. They believe the tanks should remain in Central Reserve until the main invasion axis is identified. I disagree, but I do not control those units. Bergman feels ice forming in his stomach. Without immediate armored counterattack, the beach defenses will delay the Allies, but not stop them. Once they establish a beachhead and bring their naval guns and air power to bear, the static fortifications will be systematically obliterated. This is not opinion. This is physics. Heavy naval guns versus concrete. The concrete loses. Always. After the briefing, Bergman finds Oberst Wilhelm Meise smoking in the chateau gardens. They served together in Poland. Meise is one of Rommel's senior engineering staff officers. He is also one of the few men Bergman trusts to speak honestly. Wilhelm, Bergman says quietly, when the invasion comes, how long do we actually hold? Meise takes a long drag. Off the record, 48 hours at the beaches, maybe 72 if weather disrupts their air support. After that, it becomes a fighting retreat. We trade space for time and pray the Americans lose their stomach for casualties before they reach the Rhine. So, all of this. Bergman gestures back toward the chateau, all the fortifications, all the mines, all the dead French civilians. It is a delaying action. It has always been a delaying action, Klaus. We do not have resources to stop them. We have resources to make them pay dearly for every meter. That is all we have ever had. That is all we will ever have. And if Berlin ordered us to report truthfully on our defensive capabilities, Meise laughs. It sounds like coughing. Then we would be shot for defeatism and replaced with officers who lie more convincingly. You know how this works. The higher the command level, the more reality becomes whatever the Führer wants it to be. Our job is not to win. Our job is to die in the correct positions while maintaining the illusion that victory is possible. That is not a strategy, Wilhelm. No. It is a suicide pact. But it is the only one we have. Bergman drives back to his quarters alone. The spring afternoon is beautiful. The French countryside is green and perfect. Birds sing. Flowers bloom. It is impossible to believe this landscape will soon become an abattoir, but the mathematics say otherwise. The mathematics are never wrong. That night, Bergman cannot sleep. At 0200 hours, he gives up and sits at his desk studying maps of the Normandy coast. He knows every bunker, every gun position, every minefield. He designed most of them. He knows exactly where they are strong. More importantly, he knows exactly where they are weak. The weakest sector runs from Veerville to Colville. The cliffs are lower there. Beach obstacles are incomplete because tidal range makes construction difficult. Gun emplacements have incomplete fields of fire due to terrain features. An attacking force concentrating on that sector could break through if they accepted heavy initial casualties. After the breakthrough, resistance would collapse rapidly. If someone told the Allies about that weakness, they could adjust their landing plans. They could concentrate overwhelming force at the vulnerable point. Thousands of Allied soldiers would live who would otherwise die. Thousands of German soldiers would die who might otherwise survive. But the end result would be identical either way because Germany cannot win this war. The mathematics prove it. Production capacity, replacement rates, resource availability. Every equation reaches the same conclusion. Germany loses. The only variable is how many people die first. Bergman stares at the maps until they blur. He thinks about 47 French civilians executed so he could mount one machine gun. He thinks about the 19-year-old Gefreiter he saw yesterday who will die in the bunker at Pointe du Hoc. He thinks about Allied soldiers who will drown in the surf because he designed the obstacles too well. He thinks about Martha and Hans and Greta in Dresden. He thinks about the Allied bombing campaign that will eventually reach Dresden because Dresden is a rail hub and industrial center, and those always get bombed. He thinks about his children huddling in a bomb shelter while their city burns. He thinks about equations that have only terrible solutions. At 0347 hours, Bergman vomits in the small sink in his quarters. It is not the schnapps. It is not illness. It is clarity. Perfect, terrible clarity about what he is and what he has done and what he will continue doing if he does not stop. He has spent 4 years being a good German officer, competent, professional, efficient. He has built execution grounds and called them defensive positions. He has followed orders. He has done his duty. And his reward is that he will watch thousands of people die while accomplishing nothing except prolonging a war that is already lost. There is another option. He has known it for weeks. He has refused to think about it clearly because thinking about it clearly requires confronting what it will cost. But at 0347 hours on May 4th, 1944, vomiting into a sink in occupied France, Klaus Bergman finally allows himself to see the equation completely. He can defect. He can take his knowledge of Atlantic Wall defenses to the Allies. He can show them the weak points. He can save thousands of lives. Allied and German both, because a faster invasion means less time for people to die in pointless defensive battles. The cost is everything. The Gestapo will discover his defection. They will arrest Martha. They will interrogate her. When they realize she knows nothing, they will execute her anyway, because that is what happens to traitors' wives. Heinz and Greta will be taken. Orphanage if they are fortunate. Execution if they are not. Or worse, adoption by a loyal Nazi family who will teach them to hate their father's memory. He will never see them again. They will die, not understanding why he left. They will die, thinking he abandoned them. They will die hating him. This is the equation. His family versus thousands of strangers. 3 people he loves more than his own life versus thousands he will never meet. There is no good answer. There is only the choice between types of damnation. Bergman washes his face. The water is cold. His reflection in the mirror looks like a ghost. He picks up Greta's drawing from the desk drawer. Papa comes home soon. He stares at it for 5 minutes. Then he puts it back in the drawer and closes it carefully. He does not pray. He stopped believing in God at Verdun when his father came home with half a face, but he makes something like a prayer anyway. Martha, forgive me. Hans, forgive me. Greta, forgive me. I am choosing strangers over you because I cannot live with watching them die when I could save them. I am a coward and a traitor, and I will burn in whatever hell exists for men who sacrifice their families. But I cannot build any more killing grounds. I cannot calculate any more death. I am done. May 8th, 1944. 2034 hours, Bergman's quarters. The knock is soft. 3 taps. Pause. 2 taps. Not a pattern Bergman recognizes. He opens the door and finds a French woman in the hallway, perhaps 30 years old, dark hair, simple dress. He has never seen her before. Hauptmann Bergman. Her German is accented but clear. Yes, I bring a message from friends. May I enter? It is not safe to speak in the hallway. Every survival instinct Bergman possesses screams at him. Close the door. Call the guards. This woman is resistance. Talking to her is a capital offense. Letting her into his quarters is a capital offense. Everything about this moment is a door closing behind him. He steps aside. She enters. He closes the door. She sits in the room's single chair without asking permission. Bergman remains standing. She studies him for a long moment before speaking. Her eyes are very calm. My name is not important. I represent people who are working to end this war. We have been watching you, Hauptmann. We believe you're a man who sees clearly. What do you want? The same thing you want. An end to the killing. You know the invasion is coming. You know Germany will lose. You also know many people will die unnecessarily because your commanders refuse to accept reality. We can change that. How? You have information that would save lives, defensive plans, weak points, troop dispositions. If that information reached the right people, the invasion could succeed faster with fewer casualties, Allied and German both. You are asking me to commit treason. I am asking you to stop a slaughter. The war is lost, Hauptmann. The only question remaining is how many more people die before Germany surrenders. You can reduce that number. Thousands of lives. British, American, Canadian, German too, because a faster invasion means less time for your soldiers to die in hopeless defensive battles. Bergman's mouth is dry. His heart hammers. And what happens to my family when the Gestapo discovers what I have done? The woman's expression softens. That is the cost. I will not lie to you, Hauptmann. If you help us and the Gestapo finds out, they will arrest your wife and children. They will execute them. This is what happens to traitors' families. You must decide if the lives you save are worth that price. Something breaks in Bergman's chest. He moves before thinking. His hands are on her throat. He slams her against the wall. Her head impacts concrete with a sound like a stone hitting stone. His fingers tighten. She does not struggle. She looks at him with those calm eyes and waits. Get out, Bergman says. His voice is barely human. Get out before I kill you. Get out before I make this simple by making you disappear. He releases her. She slides down the wall. She sits on the floor, breathing carefully. She does not look afraid. She looks sad. Hauptmann, she says quietly, you are not the kind of man who murders women to avoid difficult choices. If you were, we would not be having this conversation. You do not know what kind of man I am. I know you have been vomiting every night for 3 weeks. I know you stare at the ocean for hours. I know you carry a child's drawing in your uniform pocket. I know you are drowning, Hauptmann. I am offering you a rope. The rope has thorns, but it is still a rope. Get out. She stands. She smooths her dress. We will not contact you again. If you change your mind, there is a cafe in Isigny called Le Chat Noir. Ask for Michel. Say you are interested in purchasing wine. He will understand. She leaves. Bergman locks the door. His hands are shaking so violently he drops the key twice. He sits on his bunk. He stares at his hands. He almost killed her. He almost made this simple by committing murder. For approximately 14 seconds, it seemed like the right choice. The efficient choice. The German choice. He goes to the sink and vomits again. There is nothing left but bile. He vomits bile and self-loathing until his ribs ache. When he finally stops, he washes his face and looks in the mirror. The man looking back is a stranger, a man capable of strangling women to avoid consequences, a man who calculates death for a living, a man who has already decided what he is going to do but lacks the courage to admit it. At 0300 hours, Bergman goes to the officers' club. He has not been drunk on duty in 22 years of service. Tonight, he makes an exception. He drinks schnapps at the bar alone. Other officers give him space. He is known to be professional and cold, and recently unpredictable. A young lieutenant sits nearby, perhaps 19 years old, baby fat still in his cheeks. He talks loudly to his companion about the coming invasion. I cannot wait to kill some Tommies, the boy says. His voice is bright with excitement. My father killed 23 enemy soldiers in the Great War. I will exceed that. When they land on our beaches, we will slaughter them. It will be glorious. Bergman listens to this child discussing murder like a sporting event. He wants to grab the boy and shake him and scream. You are going to die. You are going to die screaming in a bunker while naval guns reduce you to paste. Your father's 23 kills mean nothing. You mean nothing. We are all meat being fed into a machine and calling it glory. Instead, Bergman drinks. The lieutenant continues talking. How many will I kill? 10? 20? I hope they send the Americans first. I hear Americans are cowards who run when you shoot at them. Bergman sets down his glass carefully. He stands. He walks over to the boy. The lieutenant looks up with bright eyes. Herr Hauptmann. Can I help you, sir? Bergman stares at him. This child who has never seen combat. This child who thinks war is glorious. This child who will be dead in 8 weeks. No, Bergman says. No one can help me. He walks out. Behind him, the lieutenant says something about the strange Hauptmann from the engineering corps. His companion laughs. They order more drinks. They are young and stupid and doomed. They do not know it yet. Bergman knows it. Bergman knows everything. That is his curse. May 11th, 1944, 15:20 hours. Café Le Chat Noir, Isigny. Bergman sits at a corner table that allows him to watch both the entrance and the back door. His coffee is untouched and cold. His hands rest flat on the table to stop them shaking. He has been here for 40 minutes. He is early. He wanted to see if anyone followed him. No one did, or everyone did, and they are simply better at surveillance than he is at detection. A man approaches, 40 years old, weathered face, work clothes stained with dirt and oil. He sits without asking permission. You are interested in purchasing wine? The man asks. His accent is local. His eyes are not. Yes. Bergman's voice is steady. He is surprised by this. I am interested in purchasing wine. Michel. The man does not offer his hand. What variety are you seeking? Information. Defensive plans for the Normandy coast, minefield locations, gun positions, weak points in the Atlantic Wall, fortifications, troop dispositions, artillery ranges. Everything I know. Michel's expression does not change, but Bergman sees his knuckles whiten on the table edge. That is a very expensive variety, Hauptmann. I understand the price. Bergman's mouth tastes like copper. I also understand what happens if I am caught. I need guarantees. My family must be protected. When Germany surrenders, they must be found and kept safe. If anything happens to them, you get nothing. I cannot promise that. Events may occur beyond our control. Then we have no agreement. Bergman starts to stand. Michel's hand moves across the table, not touching, just stopping. Hauptmann, sit, please. Bergman sits. I can arrange for your family to be located after the war, Michel says carefully. If they survive, we will ensure they are cared for, protected, given new identities if necessary. That is the best I can offer, not good enough. I need them evacuated now, before I provide any information. Impossible. The Gestapo monitors families of military officers. Any attempt to contact your wife would expose the entire network and accomplish nothing. You must choose, Hauptmann, your family or the information. There is no option that protects both. Bergman closes his eyes. Behind his eyelids, he sees Martha. He sees Hans building model aircraft. He sees Greta at her piano. He sees them in a Gestapo interrogation room. He sees them against a wall. He sees them in the ground. He opens his eyes. There is a package from my wife, he says. His voice sounds distant. In my quarters. It arrived yesterday. Cookies that my daughter baked. Greta is 8 years old and she baked cookies for her father. She used too much sugar. They taste terrible. They are the most beautiful thing I have ever eaten. Michel says nothing. I was eating them last night while copying defensive maps. Bergman continues. Crumbs fell on the documents. Little crumbs on a map showing minefield positions. I brushed them off and kept working. I ate my daughter's cookies while planning how to help kill my own countrymen. Do you understand? I have already made the choice. I am simply explaining what it costs. Michel nods slowly. When can you deliver the information? 3 days. I need to compile everything without arousing suspicion. Maps, troop dispositions, defensive plans, vulnerability assessments. But after I hand it over, I cannot return to my unit. The Gestapo will discover missing materials within hours. They will know it was me. I must disappear immediately. Understood. 3 days. Same location. 1,500 hours. Bring everything. We will have transportation arranged. One more thing. Bergman says, after the war, when it is safe. I want someone to tell my wife why I did this. Not now. Later. Someone must tell her I did not abandon them. Someone must tell her I chose strangers over my family because I could not live with the alternative. Someone must tell her I am sorry. Someone must tell her I loved them. Can you do that? If your wife survives, Michelle says quietly, someone will tell her. You have my word. They do not shake hands. Michelle leaves first. Bergman sits alone staring at his cold coffee. Around him, the cafe continues normal operations. An old man reads a newspaper. Two women discuss rationing. A child plays with a wooden toy. Normal life, as if the world is not ending. As if a man has not just signed his family's death warrant over coffee in a small French cafe. Bergman's hands are shaking again. He puts them in his lap where no one can see. He has just committed treason. He has just murdered his family. Both things are true. Both things will be true forever. He walks back to his quarters through warm spring afternoon. He passes German soldiers who salute him. He returns their salutes mechanically. He passes French civilians who avoid eye contact. He passes bunkers and gun positions he designed. Everything is normal. Everything is ending. That night, Bergman works through until dawn. He copies maps with meticulous precision. He writes detailed notes on defensive capabilities. He lists exact coordinates of every minefield he knows. He documents ammunition storage locations, communication lines, observation posts, reinforcement schedules. He writes down everything that will help the Allies kill his countrymen more efficiently. He writes it all in his precise engineering handwriting. At 02:47 hours, he stops for 10 minutes. He opens his desk drawer and takes out Greta's drawing. Papa comes home soon. He stares at it. The stick figures holding hands. The careful red crayon uniform. His daughter's handwriting. He puts the drawing back. He closes the drawer. He continues working. The maps fill with annotations. The documents stack neatly. Everything is organized with German efficiency. He is very good at his job, even when his job is betrayal. At 05:30 hours, he finishes. The documents fill a leather portfolio. He holds it and calculates weights. Approximately 4 kilograms of paper, 4 kilograms of treason, 4 kilograms of dead family members, 4 kilograms of saved lives. The mathematics are simple. The morality is not. He tries to write a letter to Martha. He sits for 40 minutes with pen and blank paper. He wants to explain. He wants to confess. He wants to beg forgiveness. He wants to tell her he loves her more than his own life, and that is exactly why he is doing this impossible thing. He cannot find words. How do you explain choosing the death of your family? How do you justify it? How do you say, I love you so much that I am killing you to save strangers because watching people die when I could save them was destroying me faster than your death will? There are no words for this. There is only the choice and the consequences and the terrible mathematics of deciding which deaths you can survive living with and which deaths you cannot. At 0600 hours, Bergman tears up the blank paper. His hands are shaking so violently that the pieces scatter across his desk. He tries to gather them. He cannot make his hands cooperate. He sweeps the torn paper onto the floor. He stands. He goes to the wall. He punches it with his right fist as hard as he can. The pain is immediate and brilliant. Knuckles impact concrete. Skin splits. Blood appears. He punches again. Again. Until his hand is mangled and bloody, and bones might be broken. The pain helps. The pain is clean and simple and makes sense. Physical pain has causes and effects and does not require moral calculations. He wraps his hand in a towel. Blood seeps through. He will tell people he injured it during construction inspection. They will believe him because officers do not typically punch walls in moments of existential despair. They will believe him because believing comfortable lies is easier than confronting terrible truths. May 14th, 1944, 14:55 hours, Café Le Chat Noir. Michelle waits with two men who do not introduce themselves. Bergman's right hand is bandaged and swollen. Michelle notices but does not comment. Bergman hands over the leather portfolio. His hand shakes. He almost drops it. Michelle catches it. Michelle opens the portfolio. His eyes widen as he pages through. Mein Gott, he whispers. This is everything. Complete defensive plans, vulnerability assessments, troop deployments. Hauptmann, this is extraordinary. I have betrayed everyone who trusted me. Bergman says. His voice is flat. Do not call it extraordinary. People will die because of this. My people, your people, all people. Some will die faster because of what I have done. Others will live. The mathematics say more will live than die, but mathematics cannot calculate guilt. Many people will live because of what you have done today. One of the other men says, "You are a brave man. I am a traitor who has murdered his family to save strangers." That is not bravery. That is something else. I do not have a word for it. Perhaps Germans do not have a word for it, because we are not supposed to do such things. They leave through the cafe's back door. A truck waits in the alley. Bergman climbs into the covered rear section. The engine starts. The truck begins moving. Through gaps in the canvas, he watches France slide past. He is leaving his uniform, his oath, his honor, his family, his entire life. He is taking nothing. He has nothing left to take. The truck drives for 6 hours. They avoid main roads. Twice they stop and wait in forests while German patrols pass on nearby highways. At dusk, they reach a farmhouse near the coast. Bergman is taken to a cellar. A fishing boat will come in 3 days when moon and tide permit safe crossing. The cellar is dark and smells like earth and old vegetables. Bergman sits on the dirt floor with his back against the stone wall. He has no possessions except the clothes he wears. He has no future except what the British decide to give him. He has no family because he chose thousands of strangers over 3 people he loved. Above him, he hears footsteps, voices. A family lives in this farmhouse. A woman calls for someone named Marie. A child laughs. Normal sounds. Dinner being prepared. Family continuing. Bergman listens to the child laughing. The child sounds like Greta. Everything sounds like Greta now. He will hear his daughter's laugh in every child's voice for the rest of his life. He will see her face in every 8-year-old girl. He will hear her piano playing in every piece of music. She will haunt him forever. They all will. That is the price. That is what it costs to choose conscience over love. The woman who first contacted him comes to the cellar. She brings bread and cheese and water. She sets them on the floor beside him. "You did the right thing," she says. "Do not tell me that." Bergman does not look at her. "Do not ever tell me that. Many people will live because of your courage. My children will die because of my choice. My wife will die because of my choice. Do not call it courage. Courage is when you risk yourself. This is something else. This is choosing other people's lives over your own family. There is no word for that. Or if there is, it should not be a good word." She leaves him alone. Bergman sits in the dark. He is not hungry, but he eats the bread mechanically. It tastes like ashes and failure. Everything tastes like that now. Everything will taste like that forever. Somewhere in Dresden, Martha is putting Hans and Greta to bed. She is reading them stories. She is kissing them good night. She is telling them Papa will come home soon. She is lying without knowing she is lying. Papa will never come home. Papa has chosen strangers over them. Papa is a traitor, and in 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks, the Gestapo will knock on the door, and everything will end. Klaus Bergman sits in a dark cellar in occupied France. He has saved thousands of lives. He has murdered his family. Both things are true. Both things will be true forever. There is no redemption. There is no forgiveness. There is only the terrible certainty that some choices destroy you no matter which option you take. And sometimes the right thing and the unforgivable thing are exactly the same. Outside, the wind picks up. Rain begins. Water seeps through cracks in the cellar ceiling. Bergman does not move. He sits in the dark, listening to the rain and the family overhead and the sound of his own breathing. He is 45 years old. He has murdered his family to save strangers. He will live with this for the rest of his life. That is his sentence. That is his fate. That is the price of seeing too much and choosing anyway. The rain continues. The family overhead continues. Klaus Bergman continues. That is the worst part. He continues. The world does not end when you make unforgivable choices. You simply continue. And continuing is the hardest thing of all.